Hello. It just did something weird. Hold on. Hold on. Dang it. I don't know how to make that stop. Let's just. OMG. I don't want this. How do I make that stop? Okay. Come on. Oh, my goodness. How does this happen? Why? This is so stupid. It's making me set a goal. Hey, Annabees. It made me set a goal for the live, and I didn't mean to do that. So please ignore. Oh, so annoying. Okay, I'm just trying to go live chat. All right. So we got Annabees and Oh Granny Annie. I always want to say Oh Granny Annie Nanny. Have you noticed that? When I see you often, I stop myself and I stop at the Oh Granny Annie. But like when you came in the other day, I hadn't seen you for a little bit, and so it just slipped out. Oh Granny Annie Nanny. And I don't know if that bothers you. So if it bothers you, I apologize, but I just think it's cute. Granny Annie Nanny. You know, I'm a granny now too, girlfriend. All right, so let's get rolling. How's the sound? I think I'm all plugged in. I've got new batteries, so I spent hours. Does it look so good? Voila, da-da. And all of these candles that were burning out, no more. Okay, let's just get rolling. I was wondering, name, congrats. His name is Lincoln, and he was 8.5 pounds or 8 pounds 5 ounces and 21 inches long, and he was born a week ago Sunday. So I'm really excited to go see him in about a week. So yeah, I couldn't see you at first because it was making me do this thing where it made me set a goal for like super chat crap. That's kind of embarrassing because, you know, I'm going to do like the panhandling on my channel. So I just appreciate you guys being here. I really want to talk to you about my thumbnail, Granny Annie. OMG. So they lifted the freaking tariff thing about an hour and 20 minutes ago, I think. So it's all going to be postponed for 90 days. I'm just going to go ahead and spit this out. But first, I'm going to say everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. I believe that what happened today at about 10 minutes after 1 or 20 minutes after 1 is going to be the grounds for impeachment for Vladdy's little boy toy going bareback with him in the thumbnail. Granny Annie opinion. OMG. He's so freaking power drunk. He's just completely out of control. He's like a rabid dog off leash. He can't control himself in the slightest bit. I think that his friend, the Big E, got to him, and some of his other bazillionaire friends got to him and put the screws to him. Oh, but the brilliance art of the deal, the 5-dimensional chess, he's brilliant. I think he's so brilliant. I think he just painted himself into a corner. They're already going over it in Congress right now as we speak. He's going to get his butt kicked the F out of there in my wildest dreams. Okay. Let's get caught up. Hello, my guess is goodbye. Can you see us? Anna B's, howdy. Hey, Jazz and Annie and everyone. Was wondering, name, congrats. Sound is good. Background is great. Always looking good. Lincoln, adorbs. Tall baby. Yeah, we make him tall in this family. My son's wife is short. I think my son is probably 6'1", and she's probably 5'3" on her tippy toes. So it was good that he wasn't any bigger. He was 3 weeks early. And my algorithm is a wreck. All politics on Annie. Ugh. That was a funny pic on your thumbnail. Yeah, pretty funny, honey. There's truth to every joke, right? Great to see you. Congrats on Lincoln. See ya. Okay, cool. Thanks, Granny Annie. Always nice to see you. And yeah, we can agree to disagree for sure. Where's my notes? They're right here. Let me do a couple of my normal things and then get rolling with the true crime, the intersection of true crime and politics, which is no longer an intersection. It's just a head-on collision. So you don't even have to say true crime and politics. You can just say politics and the crime is implied, right? Hit your like button if you'd be so kind. I think I already said that. But I repeat myself when under stress. I repeat myself when under stress. I repeat myself when under stress. I didn't make that up. That's like old King Crimson. Luke Beasley had a video today saying that E is stepping down from Doge. Oh, cool. I watch Luke Beasley a lot. I mentioned in my videos yesterday, wasn't yesterday a riot with the 3? Actually, I did 4 lives yesterday. One of them I edited, so it got kicked over to the unalive section. Wow. That was wild. Anna Bees was here for all of them except the yoga. Unless you had peeked in at the yoga, there was like 7 different people that peeked in. But that's cool. I was just doing that to entertain the one person that came in and asked for foot exercises. That was kind of weird. I mean, if they come back today, I'll just hit them up and ask them straight up, what kind of troll are you? Because, you know, they came on right after the thing crashed. And I think it's a name that I've seen before, but it was almost kind of pervy how they were going with the yoga crap. Could we do live yoga right now? I want to see your feet. It's like, man, foot fetish much? That was kind of weird. You know, I tried just to like play nice and not, be so confrontational, just to nip it in the bud. But now my racer back sports bra is bothering me with this weird sweater. Okay. No, I didn't peek into the yoga. He was a troll. Okay, Anna Bees, you got the wrench. You can do whatever you want. You can time out them. Because, yeah, that was just really bizarre. And I was, willing to play along until things got really pervy. And then I was going to tell them to screw off. But I was about a half an hour behind schedule on what I said about doing an 8 o'clock live yoga, just because it was too bright outside. I do my yoga in the upstairs loft area that has a lot of natural light and like a skylight and stuff. And so I kind of have to wait till after dark. I mean, I can get started when it's almost dark, but it looks so bright in there, even when it's just close to dark, but not quite dark. And you know me, I'm all about the mystery. All about the mystery. I'm just loving all of the cool lights. Okay, make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And indeed, I got unsubscribed from my own channel again. I'm starting to think that I'm being trolled a lot more than I knew. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. Although from the looks of my numbers, nobody likes my channels, nobody watches my videos. It's okay. I got you guys. You got me. I got you. The old Sonny and Cher song. Turn on your notification bell to ring. And yeah, I think it's just a big game of psych with the trolls and more so with the shadow banning. But yeah. Hey, Jazz, your pick is too funny. I thought so. Like, it just about knocked me over funny when I first saw it. It's obviously like AI or, Photoshop or something, but still pretty awesome. So I'm going to set my ice water here. Try not to knock over my mic. I'm going to grab my fresh coffee because it's so good when it's fresh. So weird you brought it up. Oh, that is funny. Anna Bees. The I Got You, Babe. That's hilarious because I've been thinking of it a lot lately. Like Sunny is one of the names that I thought of for the puppy that I don't know if we're going to be fostering her or not because they don't want to change her name from Cheese. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to call her Cheesy Poof every time I say anything to her then, because that's the only way I can stomach it. But yeah, I thought Sunny would be a cute name since she's so golden. But I kind of wonder if she might not turn red, kind of orange as she gets older. She's cute, but she's completely insane. I mean, she came over for a little bit yesterday and she was just literally like flopping onto my laptop, flopping onto every animal in the house that was trying to kill her. I think that the teenagers are just overwhelmed. So I haven't filled you in on just a little bit of personal business, but my son, who's graduating high school next month, he has had a girlfriend for about a year, and she graduated high school last year, and she got her own apartment not too long ago. So he likes to play house with her, and we try to remind him that he has his own place to live. You know, we're kind of strict. We were stricter with the older two. But so she adopted the puppy. She's the one who adopted Cheese. And like I said, Cheese was the name that the puppy came with. And it's a very expensive dog. We don't even want to talk about that. But I tried to tell them, like, you guys got to be really careful when you take this dog for a walk. Like, any crackhead would try to steal the dog because they know they could get cash for it quick. Seriously. So he helps her with the dog, but she works, and then the dog has to sit in a crate, which just makes her all that much more crazy when she gets out of the crate. And yeah, so they were thinking that they needed to relinquish custody of her, at least temporarily. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I kind of hope it doesn't for two reasons. I think it would break their hearts, and she'd be such a handful. Like my YouTube would just become a puppy stream, right? I mean, that might not be so bad, but I did want to talk about the other stuff. Yeah, I know you never hear that song. Oh, and you heard it yesterday. I thought you meant you were just thinking of the song yesterday. It's a good song, man. Sunny and Cher were so freaking talented. And then Sunny kind of dropped off the face of the earth, and Cher is still killing it. Killing it. I think Granny Annie dipped out. Yeah, she's a supporter of the person on the horse. So the megalomaniac. And I apologize to my dear friends like Shan and Granny Annie and anybody else who's a supporter, but I just can't. And I don't know how anybody can. He's literally serving our country up to Vladdy on a silver platter. I think he has every intention of demolishing our entire system. financially, bureaucratically, of course, the entire democracy. I mean, he's just going after it with a sledgehammer. And, there are a lot of laws and things that he keeps breaking, but he doesn't care. And it doesn't matter how many times he gets gets convicted of felonies. I mean, he's untouchable. He's above the law. I think he is so uncouth. That's a very nice way of putting it. But yeah, he's really uneducated. He's smarmy, and he's a good con man. He's quick on his feet, except that he doesn't have a vocabulary, and he thinks too much with the wrong head, if you know what I mean. He's just like your typical freaking dude. Melania would take him out in a heartbeat if she could. She would. She's probably praying for it. Seriously. I mean, he's just drug her through the mud. And, she kept quiet with what happened to Ivana. All of Ivana's babies kept quiet when that happened to her the night before the big, scary depositions were scheduled to start. Like, how do any of these freaks live with themselves? Maybe his kids are in denial. Maybe. But nobody talks about it. Nobody really pays attention because Ivana was from another country. She was very, how do you say, over the top, very gaudy. I mean, I actually like her. I do. I think her over the top gaudiness is kind of lovely in a really disgustingly decadent kind of way. Cracks me up. Absolutely cracks me up. Maybe I'll use a photograph of her for a thumbnail in the near future. I've got this wonderful photograph of her where she looks like a freaking angel in purple. Maybe I'll just put it on my community tab. But anyway, she was like way more over the top than Donnie was. And then, he got together with Marla when he was still married to his baby mama. And I'm sure that was rough on her, but she did pretty well pulling herself up by her bootstraps, taking him to the cleaners and just moving on with her life. But he has a major confidentiality clause with anybody who he comes into contact with. So if there's something that you know about him that could hurt him in any way, shape, or form, you better not even give a hint that you might say something to somebody, or you will get probably, that's too bright. Something might happen to you. You might fall down a flight of stairs or something, Is that all right? Oh, the lighting. See, and it's so hard when it's this side. Here, let me try this. Does that help? Am I too washed out now? Did I overdo it? Okay. The lighting, see, it's because I changed all my backlighting, because my backlighting is all new batteries, so it throws everything off. Anyway, what was I saying about all of the wives? So when I think he got Marla pregnant way before he married her. I think that their child Tiffany was born way before they got married. And then they were only married for like 18 months, I think. But anybody who married Ivana also had to sign a confidentiality clause. So the confidentiality clause that he has people sign is actually illegal. It's so far over the top that's what Jessica Denson sued him for. She was one of his aides in his first presidency, and then she sued him, and she has her own podcast. She was on the Midas Touch for a while, and she's organized a lot of the protests. I don't know how much she had to do with this last weekend with the hands off on April 5th, but I would imagine she had a lot to do with it. Whether it was her idea or not, I don't really have any idea. Okay, I got to quit obsessing on the way things are lining up or not lining up and just talk. Let me see what you guys are saying. Unhinged. That's the best word to describe Humanities, I believe. And he's decompensating. He's falling apart. He's going down the freaking tubes. His language is awful. He will take one word and say it like 10 times in 5 sentences, and it drives me nuts. Hope, or she just doesn't care attitude. Who? I missed it. Oh, Ivana. Yeah, Ivana. She was only 72 when she passed away, and it's totally unexpected. She was in very good condition, very good health. And it was the night before those depositions for Donnie Jr., and Ivanka were all scheduled to start, and they were going to be about a week long. And that was for the financial fraud that they canceled them indefinitely. And then they rescheduled them. And then I'm pretty sure that all 34 of his felony convictions are from that exact same case. And it's almost like the kid in junior high school who like calls in a bomb threat or something because he doesn't want to take a test. That's my feeling about it. So the thing I was going to say when I interrupted myself with my disclaimer, and I kind of did say it, but I really wanted to talk about it more, is that I think that this is the beginning of the end for Donnie. I think the crap that he's pulled with these tariffs, like, you don't mess with people's money, especially when you're dealing with money that big. It's all freaking gangsta style, baby. Like, you gotta believe it. You do not mess around with that crap. I think his time is up. I think he's going to go down, and he'll be lucky to just go to jail and not have something worse happen to him. But yeah, I mean, it's so obvious that it was at the very bare minimum that what he did today was planned so that him and his buddies could make a whole ton of cash. Did you hear he demanded a 20 million military parade for his 79th birthday? When I first heard that, oh, I'm sorry, Vieja commercials, that's annoying. Yeah. When I first heard that, I thought it was like a farcical newspaper thing online. I was like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, truth to every joke. But I'm sure he's going to do it. And yeah, I don't think it is a farcical. I don't think it was a farcical newspaper article. 26 million. Wow. So he's so freaking Adolphy, and he's so freaking North Korean-y. I mean, what's her name? Caroline with a K. She should be in one of those little pink dresses, you know, like like they wear on the fake news for North Korea, you know, with like the cummerbund around her waist and just sitting there at the desk all stiff with her hair all poofed out. She is perfect for that. Oh, she's such a liar. She's such a liar. Everything she says is a lie. And everything she says, she's angry, she's defensive, she goes on the offense. It's ridiculous. I'm still so distracted by this freaking lighting. What is it? Is it too much over here? Okay, I'm going to knock it down now. See, this is why I can't touch nothing. The whole thing is going to come down. Annabees, were you with me in a live, like, it was like a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago, when I had to use my cell phone and the thing like kept falling down while I was trying to do my live, and I just kept the live going anyway. Yeah, that was hilarious. But yeah, this is one of those situations with this damn light. If I fix the light, then it wants to fall. So I kind of just have to leave it, I think. But look at that now. Okay, just knock it all down. There. Okay, is that better? Goodness gracious. All right, let me look at my notes. The lighting is good. I hate it when I get washed out. And I also, I mean, when it's lopsided, that's not so bad, but it was a little too lopsided for me. So I think it's a little bit better now. It's still lopsided, but that's okay. I'm not going to obsess on it. I'll just keep doing this and then you won't notice. So yesterday I spoke of a whole bunch of different victims in my third live. But let's talk about the lives yesterday for a minute. I feel like the material that I was talking about in the first one and reading that article about Angela CHAO, and if I say her name, it'll probably trigger the algorithm and flag it, because I really think that that's why my stream froze up. And then I started a new stream. I was very reluctant to give up on this stream. I thought maybe it would come back, but now I know that they probably don't come back when they freeze. Although I think that it has once or twice. I don't know. Anyway, when I came back on and I read that whole article from start to finish, and I just think something's up with that. It's too weird that she just happened to be in, you know, the Model X SUV of the Big E's, and that she was on her own property. Basically, it was property owned by her husband's business, and just going for like a 2-minute spin. Sorry, I'm trying not to spit. Just going for like a 2-minute spin to try to not have to walk from the main house to the guest house, or was she going from the guest house to the main house? Either way, it was just like a very short distance. It was right there on the same property. I mean, it's a big property. It was almost 1,000 acres. But anyway, and then once her car was in the water, and she was so terrified when she couldn't break the window, and then she called her friends, and she was probably scared, but she probably thought that they could get her out. And then when it started going down, I mean, it's just insane to think about what was going through her head. So the fact that her company that her family started is a giant shipping company that imports mass amounts of dry goods from China. And, you know, the Big E has everything to do with China. So, you know, the China tariffs are what the big deal was today, calling off the China tariffs after like hiking them up. What did he hike them up to earlier today? Like it was already 104%. I think it was like another 20 or 50 above that. Wasn't that just today that he did that, like this morning? And then he's like, oh, just kidding. It's just like such a game of poker. And in the meantime, you know, the businesses are going nuts. The stock market's going nuts. A lot of people are laying folks off, not just companies that deal with China and importing from them, but just companies in general. I mean, we are on the brink of a global, dare I say, depression. Dare I say. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. Sorry, my daughter was talking to me. He is such a prick. Yeah. So the fact that Angela CHAO is the sister of Mitch McConnell's wife. And Mitch McConnell has been so integral, and he's been such a tool with the first presidency of Mr. T, the little T. He basically protected him from being impeached. I can't remember if that was the first impeachment or the second impeachment, but he single-handedly kept him protected. And now that he's announced his retirement, he's saying a lot of things, speaking out against this administration. I want to say it started with the whole polio thing with RFK Jr., because Mitch McConnell actually suffered from polio when he was a child. And man, I've just got to say for a second, a moment of silence for the children in Texas that have passed away from the freaking measles. And I guess the last one that passed away, I don't know if the kid was 7 or a different age. RFK Jr. went to meet with the family, and they're still sticking by him and little T, allegedly. Like, they're still anti-vaxxers. They're still totally drunk on the Kool-Aid, I guess. I mean, come on, people. You lost your child. That's really sad. It's really sad, because it's not just your own children that you're endangering. You're endangering the entire planet, in my opinion. And I did a lot of research on vaccinations when I was a new mom. My husband and I, we studied that hard. He's a biologist, and we thought for a minute that maybe not vaccinating was a better decision, because back then, 23 years ago, it was like, oh, it causes autism. So we did a ton of research. And I've mentioned in at least one of my lives, maybe more than one, that a physician that we consulted with in the northern part of Seattle, I think it was called Shoreline or somewhere up there. This one doctor, she said that she was just an educator about the pros and the cons. And so we consulted with her for like a full hour and got tons of information from her. And then we read up on her and found out that she was an anti-vaxxer. And we're just like, how terrible is that, to try to advertise yourself as just like a middle of the road educator, and then come to find out. So what's worse is that there's a ton of infectious diseases that could have been prevented with vaccines. And if you look at a map of where her doctor's office is, it's like literally like a 10-mile radius circumference. That's where all the disease is. Like, not even kidding. It was crazy. That was years and years later. That was probably like 15 years after we consulted with her, maybe even closer to 20. Have I ever told you that I think of the Emperor in Star Wars as Mitch McConnell? No, that's hilarious. I always think of a turtle. I mean, seriously, he is. And especially when he's being such a prick, he's just like this disgusting old turtle. And I love turtles. Turtles are awesome creatures. And then when he's being righteous, he seems like an awesome turtle. But yeah, that's hilarious. Ugh. And isn't he from Kentucky? Isn't that his state? I'm pretty sure it is. So the whole thing with Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine, who was the Secretary of Transportation in the first Trump administration, and then she had a different role in the Biden administration. I have it in my notes, but I don't know if I'll find it. If I look, I can try. Let's see. Doctors should be brought up to the board for being anti-vax. Yeah, they should. Absolutely. And politicians too. especially if their last name is Kennedy, because our whole country like worships the Kennedys, right? It's like they're the Kennedys or something. I always say that, like if a family is really revered in a community, I say they're like the Kennedys of that community. So what was Elaine in the Biden administration? How far back do I have to go for that? Am I in the right notebook or is it the other notebook? Do you remember Annabee's? I don't think it's that important, but I do like to know things. Okay, I don't want to get sidetracked. Come on, Elaine. I could probably Google it faster than finding it in my notes. Yeah, let's just Google it. Sorry, one sec. You know me, I've got to Google. I can't do a show without Googling. Was she the Secretary of State? Let's see. Secretary of Labor for George Bush from 2001 to 2009. And then the Secretary of Transportation for Trump from 2017 to 2021. And then I thought she did something in the Biden. I thought she was still in politics when Biden was in office. She was the first Asian American woman to serve in a presidential cabinet. Well, maybe that was an issue for the racist, sexist little t. She resigned. This is it. I found it. I'm so glad I Googled this, Annabees. Are you ready? Are you ready? Make sure you're sitting down. She resigned as Transportation Secretary after the January 6th United States Capitol attack, or AKA the Day of Love. That's OMG. So that was 2021. And then fast forward 3 years later, I think it was February 11th was the day that happened to her sister. But it just happened to be a Tesla, just like the Cybertruck that blew up in front of the Trump Tower in Vegas on New Year's, just happened to be a Tesla. Unbelievable. So, and then did she do anything? She did a lot of stuff in her career, but I'm just thinking after she resigned from the position on January 6th, although it says here in office until January 11th of 2021. So there must have been a little back and forth with that. And, it's normal for people to resign from their positions when there's a new president getting sworn in. That's totally normal. But if it was a response to the insurrection, wow. How stressful. Okay. But the Kennedys don't claim him, right? The Kennedys despise him as much as I do, I think. Oh, now I remember her. I'm ready. Okay. So yeah, Elaine Chao, also being Asian and being a woman and being in these positions of power, I think that Mitch McConnell was her first husband, but she was his second wife. Let me see if it says. I mean, she's got quite a resume, but yeah, she's only been married the one time since 1993, and she became a U.S. citizen in 1972. So she was born in Taiwan, and she had citizenship there until she was 18, and then she gained United States citizenship, and she has that presently. So little T is probably vying to take citizenship away from people like her too, isn't he? I mean, it sure seems like it. He's so freaking bent on revenge. Here, can I read a little thing just because it's interesting? Chow was born in Taiwan. Her parents fled China as a result of the Chinese Civil War. Okay, it goes deeper even. Multi-generational stuff. She immigrated to the U.S. when she was 8 years old. Her father founded the Foremost Group, an American shipping company based in New York. She was raised in Queens, New York, and on Long Island, and received degrees from Mount Holyoke and Harvard Business School. She worked for financial institutions before being appointed to senior positions in the Department of Transportation under Reagan and Bush, and chair of the Federal Maritime Commission, Deputy Secretary of Transportation. She served as the director of the Peace Corps. I found that interesting too, just for 1 year from 91 to 92. And as president of the United Way of America from 93 to 96. She's also served on several Fortune 500 and nonprofit boards of directors, including the electric charger network provider. Oh, there you go. The things that charge Teslers. She's married to U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell. So she's been on the board of directors for the electric charger network provider ChargePoint since 2021. That is huge. Wow. She's a real heavy hitter, man. She's a powerhouse, an absolute powerhouse. And then she married a senator when she was in 1993. So she'd already been doing government stuff for a few years, but then that was a huge step up in her career too. Isn't that wild? Vieja says, I'm not remembering her. So yeah, Mitch McConnell's wife, the only thing that I learned about her through was the car accident in Austin, Texas a year ago that her younger sister passed away in. And I don't remember how I first learned about that, but it was a couple of weeks ago. And the more I learn about it, the creepier it is. And then it was super creepy that while I was reading that article that my live froze up. It's entirely possible that it was just a bad internet connection, but it was coincidental, the timing of it, right? Sorry for scratching the mic with the coffee mug. Let me take another drink real quick. Yeah. So it almost seems like there should be a connection, that there could be a connection with the charging stations and Elaine being on the board of directors for that national network of charging stations. And then her little sister having that crazy accident almost seems like Interesting. I agree. Interesting timing. Well, and all it does for me is confirm that I'm onto something significant, you know? That's, I shouldn't say that because I shouldn't like give the trolls any hints on how to troll better. But that's what they do when they're trolling. It lets you know that you're onto something. If you weren't onto anything, they wouldn't be wasting their time with you. So it's just like when they scrub things off the internet. It's like, oh, okay, so that's super significant, you know, like the billionaire Zuck being boots on the ground with the Kylie Rodney search, and then that being scrubbed off the internet. It was weird enough that he went out there. It was weird enough that he registered like a regular person. I mean, bazillionaires are not regular people, and they don't generally go missing for 16-year-olds that might have been drunk driving. I get so suspicious more and more that The Handmaid's Tale. So check it out, Annabees. The Handmaid's Tale, I think, is in its last season. I think they just dropped the first 3 episodes of its last season yesterday, or maybe a couple of days ago. And then it's supposed to be wrapped up, I think, by May. And I had no idea. I knew about The Handmaid's Tale. I never watched it. I know it got a lot of hype. I know people talked about it for various reasons. And then Lindsay Rodney Neiman had a Handmaid's Tale image on her Facebook for her profile that she changed the day. Was it the day that Kylie went missing that she changed it? And then the whole Handmaid's Tale thing with Koberger and him holding the book and that photograph with Margaret Atwood at his college doing a presentation, and him just being in the front row, just so excited to meet his idol. And now we've got the 2025 implementation. I mean, we're really close to Handmaid's Tale, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. But what I didn't know, Annabees, did you know this? I had no idea that, first of all, it only started in like 2017. And then the last season, so season 5, are you ready? This is crazy. Get your notebook out, Anna. Write this down. This is huge. Okay. September of 2022 was the start of the last season of Handmaid's Tale to date until this season that we're in right now. So September of 2022. So a month after Kylie went missing, they dropped season 5. They started dropping episodes from season 5. And then the last episode of season 5, conspiracy theory, big time. They dropped the last episodes of season 5, Handmaid's Tale, in November of 2022, right before. Okay, so it was September 14th when they started dropping episodes from season 5, 2022, and then November 9th when they finished dropping that season. So 4 days before what happened with Idaho 4. And September 14th, I'm just remembering back to the date. Oh, wasn't November 9th the same day that Trinity Backus was found? Didn't she go missing on the 7th of November that year? And then she was found 2 days later? That's creepy AF. So the thing about Trinity and Kylie that I think we should discuss a little bit, and and hit home. I've hit on it many times, but it's been a long time since I've hit on it. Even when I've talked about it recently, I've kind of brought it up, but not really underscored it enough. The green eyes. Kylie had green eyes. Trinity had green eyes. Kylie had blonde hair. Trinity had red hair. They were both tall and slender and very attractive. In other words, you know, people that might be selected for reproductive traits, basically. So I think there's an off chance that they're being trafficked. I think it's more likely that they are both deceased. But how do we know that there wasn't some, this is gross, this is crazy, trigger warning. How do we know that some of their eggs weren't harvested? Trinity and Kylie. We don't know. Same thing with the girls in Idaho 4 and with Ethan in Idaho 4. Like, sure, maybe they are really deceased and it really was a bath of the red stuff. But we don't know that. They never took them out of there. They never took the remains out of the house that anybody noticed. That whole thing could have been staged. That's crazy. But I forgot that they never had any evidence of them taking anybody out of there. Oh man, now I'm just sick. Can't stand this conspiracy theory crap. It's just too much. Let's just go buy the book. Whatever the police say is exactly what happened, okay? This is just too much to question things, isn't it? I mean, I totally get it why people don't want to question anything and why people don't see the value in questioning anything. I didn't until I got experience under my belt. And I pray all the time that I'm incorrect about things. I really honestly do. But like, look at Sandra Birchmore. Look at that case with Matthew Farwell up there in Canton, Massachusetts. And I wonder, I think he might be going to trial this month. I don't know. Maybe it's not until summer. But how long did that take from the time that he allegedly unalived her until he was arrested? That took like over 3 years. Way over 3 years. I want to say she was unalived in February of 2011, and then he was only arrested this last August of 2024. So that would be 3.5 years. And how easy it was for him to pull that crap, to take this little tiny child out. Yeah, she was 23 when he took her life, allegedly, but she was like 12 when she met him, when she started with the Explorer program. I think she was 12. It's disgusting. It's just nauseating. I mean, this is why people don't talk about this stuff. This is why people don't want it to be true. This is why people are just like, yeah, it was a self-unaliving. See, it says so right here on the report. The coroner said so and everything. It's like, well, yeah, the coroner's buddies with the freaking officer, you know? Plus, they can easily be paid. They can easily be persuaded if social connections aren't enough, whatever it takes. Easily. They're bought all the time, in my estimation. So let me see what you're saying here. Sorry, that was so rude, but you have to be rude sometimes. Prime cut. Oh, yeah. And I don't think that that's rude. I think that that's just calling a spade a spade. You're talking about Kylie and Trinity. I mean, some people would say, oh, that's a compliment, but yeah, it's a really disgusting compliment. Yeah, they would be the handmaids that many a men would select to be their baby mama to reproduce with. It's an awful illegal act, in my opinion. I can believe it. They say curiosity killed the cat. Ask questions, be well informed is my motto. Yeah, and I'm just not gonna be um, scared from justice and the truth. That's just what I'm all about, justice and the truth. And of course, I'm always putting my safety first, but in the event that seeking justice and the truth was going to bring harm to me, the potential for harm is so bad anyway that I don't think it makes anybody any safer to play, um, to concede and to comply. I think that makes it more dangerous. I think that gives them more power. It makes them more brazen. And if you're outspoken, and especially if you're high profile and something happens to you, people are going to ask questions. So there's that. I mean, otherwise, I mean, why do you think the big E wears a bulletproof vest and a child to protect his head, you know? But he still goes out in public. I mean, it's insanity. And he still does what he does. It doesn't stop him from all his maniacal business dealings and such. Oh, Anna Bees, you're so sweet. Me too. That's why I like you. I love you, my dear. Okay. So, what did I want to share? I started talking about all the victims that I mentioned in the last of yesterday's lives, like Teresa. I said her name wrong. I said Holbrecht. I think it's Halbeck, right? Teresa Halbeck. I think it's Halbeck. Halbeck, something like that. I was close. Um, and then that 16-year-old from Austin, Texas, that young man, or no, his name is Austin. He's 16. He's from Texas. The young man that died in his twins' arms at a track meet was um, cut with a sharp edged object over a seat, allegedly. Austin Metcalf is his name. Memorial High School in North Texas. The name of the town might be Frisco, Texas. And a 17-year-old was arrested for the fight. And that's just so crazy. That's just so nuts. And then Stacy Peterson, who I called Stacey Abrams for some reason. No idea. Stacy Peterson's widowed husband, Drew Peterson, the cop who is in prison for the red rum of the woman that he was married to when he started exploiting Stacy with statutory. So there's that. So she was underage when it started. I think they got married when she was 19, but I think it started a couple of years before that. And she was totally game. She thought that it was cool flirting with this married cop. It was she was a willing participant, but when somebody's underage, that's still great because they're not old enough to consent. I mean, a lot of 16-year-old girls would be so flattered by a cop flirting with them, even if the guy is 50. Chicks love men in uniforms. We all know that, right? That's why guys wear uniforms. That's why they join the military or law enforcement or what have you. I'm serious. They call those chicks badge bunnies, for anybody who doesn't know. And then John Bonet, Summer Wells, Madeline, and Casey Anthony. Kaylee Anthony is the daughter, right? Yeah, because Kaylee, the daughter, is named after the evil mother and the granddad, whose first name is Lee, I think. And then, I've always got a huge place in my heart for Meredith Kircher and her family and her sister, and the lack of justice and the brashness of Amanda Knox, who happens to be a Tiny T supporter. Isn't that a surprise, right? She's a very outspoken Tiny T supporter. Ugh. But yeah, he likes anybody who likes him. He doesn't care why they like him. He doesn't even care if they're just pretending to like him. He's simple. He's a simple individual. And we shouldn't have somebody like that in charge of national security. I'll just say it. That's just not a secure person. That's an unstable person. Anybody who needs acceptance from other people is extremely unstable. Anybody who requires acceptance from other people is probably personality disturbed, probably like narcissistic, borderline, histrionic, part of the cluster B personality disorders. I think antisocial is in that B cluster also. But that's one of the telltale signs, is requiring people's acceptance and approval. And if you can't get their acceptance and approval, just so long as you have their attention. So even if it's negative, just so long as they're basically making you real by like that trait, that personality trait, is that people feel like they don't exist if they don't have the emotional attention of others. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And I hope you're talking about Jazz and Me. Oh, Vieja, yes. That case is awfully sad. Yes, Christine, that was a terrible thing about the boy being red-rummed and then passing away in his identical, I don't know if they're identical twins or fraternal twins. I think I've seen pictures and they look really identical. I think that they do, like, not a perfect match, but so close that I couldn't tell you which is which. Like when I'm looking at a picture of the two of them, I can't tell which one is him. But I did put a picture of him in the thumbnail yesterday afterwards. So for anybody who hadn't seen how handsome he is or was, oh man, a very good looking kid. Never heard that phrase before. Oh, which phrase? He's all for the adoration. Amanda Knox is so gross. I never knew all that stuff about the case until you told us. I never knew all that stuff about the case until True Crime Rocket Science. So I give him, the Badge Bunny. Yeah, isn't that a funny one? True Crime Rocket Science has written 6 books on the Amanda Knox case now. And Nick is funny, the guy who has that channel. Like he gets really full of himself sometimes, but I do like him, and I really respect the work that he's done on cases like that. But then I think things like the Kylie Rodney case and probably the Idaho 4, he's just like totally by the book. Like, yep, whatever the police say, that's what happened. So I find that annoying. But I just, I used to watch all of his stuff, but now I'm very selective about what I watch. And yeah, but he was great with not just the Amanda Knox and I like to call it the Meredith Kercher case, but there's a couple others that he's really been a standout for too. And I'm trying to remember what they are. It's not coming to me off the top of my head. Probably the Watts case. He's probably done a lot of good work with that one. You know, he lives in Australia, I think, and he tours our country and goes to all of the places where these hideous crimes happen. And he's done that with Italy too. He's gone to the little house there in Persia. I can never say the name of the town right in Italy. Perugia or something like that. Paraguay? No, that's not it. Anyway, the name of the town where Meredith and Amanda were going to college, and he's gone to the little what do they call it? I think they call it a villa, the little house that those girls lived in with the 4 cute boys downstairs. And the one that was dating Meredith that Amanda wanted to date. Giacomo, yeah. I try not to say his last name because I'm sure he wants anonymity, but he was a really good looking dude that I think Amanda had bagged. Amanda had only been there for maybe 6 weeks, and she pretty much bagged the whole town, it seems like. And that was one of the reasons why she got canceled the night of Meredith's passing away. Her boss, Patrick, canceled her because she was always flirting with the customers and possibly dealing Coca-Cola too. So he was always having to tell her. That's so annoying. How long could you not really hear me? I just felt it hit my knee, so I don't know if it just fell out or if it fell out before. That's super annoying. It's done that before. Man, equipment. Anyway, Patrick Momba, I think was his name, and he had canceled Amanda that night for work, and it was November 1st, I think. Yeah, it was the night of November 1st. It was the day after Halloween. And she didn't have rent money. And Meredith did. And Meredith had it in cash in her room. And it was missing. And I think it was $300. And I think that when Amanda was arrested, that she had 250-ish dollars cash on her person, and that basically it was the 300 minus a pizza and some lingerie, I believe. And so that was one of the things. You know, Meredith was just taking everything. She was taking the cute boy from downstairs. She was taking Amanda's job because Patrick wanted Meredith to work there, but Meredith didn't feel like she had enough time to. But she said that she would work like special events once in a while because she made like a really mean mojito or something like that. And yeah, that was why Amanda implicated Patrick when she came up with her cockamamie story. And I don't know if you guys know this, but when she was recounting to the police what had happened, she was like sitting on the floor, like in a fetal position and like hitting her ears and like being really kind of schizophrenic. I think she was really high too. I think she was probably not just marijuana, but maybe LSD or something like that. And so everything was probably surreal. And I do believe that she masterminded the attack on Meredith. And well, that the fight started because the money was missing. And then Meredith confronted her about the money. And then it went downhill from there. And then came the violating Meredith, and trigger warning, the Vaseline that was found at the crime scene, and questions about backdoor activity. It seems that Amanda herself was one of the people that violated Meredith. It wasn't just the boys, that her boyfriend was there. Well, Rudy was there. Rudy Guide, the guy who served like 20 years, and then the black guy, and then her boyfriend Rafael Solito, something like that. So it seems like the three of them were assaulting Meredith, and that there was also two different types of knives. So it's very apparent that it was more than one person who did this to her, and there were a lot of nicks. There were a lot of like threats, like little tiny cuts. So that would indicate that they were like torturing her, and is just so heinous. And then Amanda, when she's denying it, which she always is, she runs around with that Innocence Project. It's like such an exploitation of the Innocence Project, and really damaging to the Innocence Project too, because there's a lot of people who would love to see the Innocence Project brought down. I mean, of course, corrupt law enforcement, they don't want anybody to know that that ever happens. And Amanda's just toxic. She's absolutely toxic. But the thing that I was starting to say that I just want to finish real quick and then wrap up on that is that when she talks about it, she always says, I didn't grape her. I didn't grape her. I'm not a grapist. It's like, most people don't even know that part of the story. Most people have no idea anything about that. Like, they did a really good job, I think, out of respect for Meredith and her family, to keep that on the down low, that there was any kind of graping going on, but especially the type of graping that was going on. And that there was any non-heterosexual graping going on. Ugh, vomit. Okay, next. She's so vile. And then the guy that married her, I think he's just as vile, because there's no way you wouldn't know that she was guilty. I mean, she's got the Charles Manson eyes like nobody's business, like even worse than Koberger. Come on. And none of the ways she tells it makes any sense at all. Yeah. That would be such a traumatic experience that you would never get over. Anna B's, oh yeah, I know I've shared with you guys the email that Amanda sent to Washington State University, and that crazy story. And it's all about her. Like, you can tell when somebody is not torn up about what happened to their friend. They're not torn up about what happened to their roommate. They're not like, oh my goodness, what did she have to go through? That's so heinous. When it's all about me, my, oh, this is so hard for me. It's like, well, you're still alive. You weren't assaulted, were you? Well, they are trying to get Scott Peterson out of prison. Yeah, I ignore that crap too. I mean, there's, the Innocence Project. I don't think that's the real Innocence Project. I think that's a fake Innocence Project, probably made by Mark Garagos, because that was his attorney, and he's a powerhouse. And again, they don't care if they sully the reputation of the Innocence Project. Yeah. I know. I was really relieved when I found out that it was like a fake Innocence Project. But again, most people don't really pay attention to these things. So we just see the headlines and we go with it. I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. Thank you guys so much for being here. What else did I want to talk about? I really wanted to talk about the stock market craziness. I really wanted to talk about that freaking Handmaid's Tale crap, because that's just going to keep coming up, man. Why do they have to talk about it in mainstream news media right now? Like, that's scary. I'd rather it just be that I'm a conspiracy theorist, damn it. Yeah, so one of the things that I think is really important to look at right now is that if your name doesn't match the name on your birth certificate, you might not be able to vote. That's what Donnie is vying for. He's enacting laws while he's distracting everybody with his outrageous tariff drama. He's pushing through laws like that. So, yeah, the S&P. Well, yeah, because he just reversed all of the tariffs. He just put a moratorium on them for 90 days, just out of the blue. I'm sure nobody knew it was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the power drunkenness is just that it's so amazing to him that he can just like put out a tweet and then watch things crash, or he can put out a tweet and then watch things skyrocket. I mean, the power of the tweets. Excuse me. Why can't the mainstream media stand up to power? Because it's mostly owned by Donnie, literally. He's the boss, applesauce. And if it's not owned by him, it's owned by his other disgusting colleagues, if you want to call them that, partners in crime. So, yeah, it's heinous. It's absolutely heinous. I mean, the platform that we're on is owned by people like that, allegedly. You know, just like when people are on X and they're criticizing E, the big E, and they're criticizing the little T, and they're on Big E's platform. You know, that's hilarious, isn't it? That's just hilarious. Okay, I think I should wrap it up. Thanks so much for being here with me, you guys. I love ya. Much, much love, much appreciation. Today is the 9th of April. And yeah, it is hilarious. Yeah, like when somebody put up that post on Facebook about Zuck being the first recipient of a rat penis transplant. That was great. Somebody put that post up the minute that he decided that he wasn't going to have anything censored on Facebook. So immediately they put that post up and everybody screenshot it because they knew it'd be taken down. That was just poetic. That was perfect. So thank you for blessing me with your company. I appreciate you guys so much. It's so nice to have this creative outlet and conversation and just trying to push things forward. So yeah, have a really good rest of your day. I hope you can get some sunshine and fresh air and exercise, and definitely staying hydrated and eating high protein and large amounts of veggies if you can. And most importantly, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and we will see you on the next one. Muchas gracias.